Greetings, friends. Welcome to the second Virgo new moon meeting of our meditation for the common good. Today we continue our group focus on the topic that we've been holding through the Virgo cycle, right relationships, radiating the embodied love. This topic was selected based on our reflection on most radiant and resonant recognitions related to the theme manifesting right relationship in all the fields of human activities. We know this as one of the prerequisites for the reappearance of the Christ. Together with two others, cleaning the house of religion and politics and manifesting the principle of sharing, these three prerequisites are in our focus throughout the cycles of each of the cross in heaven, and in science related to the mutable cross of which Virgo is a part, we focus on the theme of right relationships. At the time of the full moon and during our quarter moon meeting, we had a chance to start our meditation and to reflect together, sharing our impressions of the meaning of radiating embodied love. And today we continue this work. And as always, we start with our statement of purpose. Over to you, Birgit.
Thank you, Alexander. Our purpose is to magnetize the ideas of common good, freedom, and brotherhood as the highest values of humanity at this time. We recognize and cherish diversity of perspectives in our group, creating a space capable of invoking, receiving, interpreting, and radiating a higher synthetic vision. We serve as an asramic outpost, building a group bridge of Buddhic energy. We evoke the soul of humanity. We envision humanity as being the seed that is flowering. We prepare the way for the reappearance of the coming one. Over to you, Tracy.
Thank you, Birgit. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. As we begin our focus today in the new moon meditation, the naming circle unites our hearts across distance. As we begin our alignment and bring ourselves fully into our group work. By uniting our hearts in this way, we begin naturally to work telepathically through our group mind. The key to this telepathic work is in its etheric alignment, which creates the group field and allows it to become both a receiving and transmitting agent for higher ideas and energies. So today we'll begin by calling our names into the circle, starting with our organizers. And as your name is called, please unmute yourself. Say your name and where you are calling in from. For example, Tracy Arbor, and today I'm calling in from Novi, Michigan, USA. As we go through this, let us turn our attention to our hearts and the heart center of the group gathered today, as each one of us calls ourselves into this circle. Alexander.
Hello, friends. Again, my name is Alexander Ilchuk, and I'm calling in from Brooklyn, New York, in the United States.
Welcome. Birgitta.
Hello, my name is Birgitte Rasmussen, and I'm calling in from Slagelse in Denmark.
Welcome. Andrea.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrea Ross, and I'm calling in from a little island called Fisher's Island off of the coast of New London, Connecticut, in the United States.
Welcome. Annetta.
Hello, this is Annette Løfler calling in from Sorø in Denmark.
Welcome. Ben.
Hi, this is Ben. I'm in the Northwoods, Norwood in the Bronx, New York.
Welcome. Jillian.
Hello, everyone. I'm in, as always, Heacham in Norfolk, UK.
Welcome. Judy.
Hello, this is Judy Harrison calling in from Brewster, Massachusetts, USA.
Welcome. Katya.
Hi, Greta Kaufman, New York, US.
Welcome. I think that's everyone right now. So thank you. Now that we are linked together as a group, let us share a few moments in silence to align, forming a triangle between Shambhala, the hierarchy, and humanity. May our efforts be of the highest vibration in selfless service for our purpose. Over to you, Alexander.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you, friends. We are now bringing our focus to the questions that were offered to our group for reflection during the time of the full moon. These are the questions that would help us, or will help us to focus our group tension on the topic, right relationships, radiating the embodied love. You can see these questions on the screen, and I invite us to share any further impressions, offering them in the group chalice in the center of the group. Closer to the end of our meeting, we will share the most resonant ideas that we recognize through our sharing and our meditation, and we'll offer them into the magnet of the group chalice to be magnetized and radiated into the stream of human consciousness, the mental field of humanity. So when you're ready to share, please unmute yourself and offer your sharing.
I could start. I have missed you all. I've been away. I have spent the last month and a half with children, babies, new babies, and young children. And it just strikes me as I read number 2, how much they live in the present moment. And in that, there's great joy and great discovery. And so as I look at that question, there's something about living in that space of time with eyes wide open, with curiosity, that is part of how we nurture that Christ child within. And it becomes so apparent that that pure spark of Christ is so present in every newborn. And if it's present in every newborn, then that means it's always and forever present. And it helps me when I'm out in the world to recognize that in every person that I encounter. And even those whose personalities might be a bit distracting, just to be able to look through that illusion and recognize that there is that Christ within, it enables one to truly love unconditionally and recognize that that is the embodied love that I think we're supposed to look for and to practice. It's easy to love something that is good or that is filled with light, and yet it's truly the embodied love that may be shadowed that I think is what we're all tasked to recognize, because that is the soul, and the soul doesn't discriminate. The soul loves.
Yeah, I was thinking about the first question. What's the difference between love and embodied love? And what came to me was we already are love in body. And all we have to do, or embodied love, as we were saying, but we're already love embodied. And we just need to recognize it and nurture it and allow it to come out into our lives. Again, it's those choices we make throughout life, whether, the love and hate thing, the duality between that and what's in between. But we're already love embodied. So thank you.
I have thoughts related to the second question about increase of light. Uh, what can we do to increase true nurturing within ourselves? we all live in the limitations of the physical world. It's part of the equation, or part of the game, so to speak. And we are in this world, we are subject to Maya, glamours, and illusions. And till we reach higher grades of enlightenment or initiation, it is inevitable for us to be glamored. And it is part of our discipleship work or aspirant journey to work with our own glamours, recognizing them and first making the decision to put our desire into dissipating those glamours to desire or will, our soul will, our personality will, and then follow that intent and decision in any manner that is available to us. There are techniques given to us by the master to work with individual glamours. And it's a tool or a method that helps to progressively dissipate our individual glamours. And as a result of that, help to nurture the light, to increase the light within our bodies, physical, etheric, astral, mental. So in other words, focused discipleship work.
I was reading today about a nice example. I think if you think at the monad, the spirit, as a clear light, and the bodies are different colored light, and the clear light is dependent of how transparent the other lights are to get through as magnetism and radiate out as clear light. So our job is to make each body as transparent as possible, so that the clear light from the monad and the soul can shine through. I think that's a good picture. Thank you.
Regarding the points just raised, I've been sort of thinking and not worrying exactly, but wondering how we're supposed to handle things, because I read sometimes that we have to forget everything else and just concentrate solely on the path. But you also read that you've got to be compassionate and caring to your fellow beings. And when you've got dependent people who rely on you to keep them going, I think you've got to do that, and that's part of your service. So that's the way I look at it. There is room for both, I think, and that's how we can carry on.
Yeah, I think I was thinking about the masters and how they are able to be at peace, living just the middle way, naturally. They show us that way. The ability to receive love and to express it and be just right in the middle of that, which is a perfect and most beautiful, peaceful place to be. Um, just from their example and how they show us. And I think about the world, just how it is right now. There are those that, I mean, that embody love, that will, forgive and use heart-centered qualities and practice that, try to practice that. It's very hard in this world sometimes. And there are those that are at the opposite end. They say the opposite is you have love and then hate, right? The two polar opposites. And it's funny because those that seem to not be happy or lost in this world are those that somehow either don't receive the love or can't receive it or put a guard up to, protect themselves. For so long we've had to quote unquote survive, the animal instinct in us. And we're at a point in time now where we can choose through our mental body, even because we're a little bit more, our consciousness has expanded, um, to let that guard down. I think that's the hardest thing to do for probably anybody that's like just a normal individual, at least for me it is to let that guard down because you feel like you're going to get trampled down or whatever. Um, but I guess it's just just the thought that our our sun, which is the heart chakra in the greater being, is love, and we come from that greater being, um, of our solar logos. So we're already love, and we needed to experience the polar opposite and learn how to adapt and live in this world, in this physical world, coming from the spiritual realm. And now we're past that nadir and we're on our way back up into that spiritual realm. I mean, it'll be a while, but yeah, I think the hardest thing sometimes is to let go and let God. They say, let go and just let yourself be filled with the love and be able to receive and express it. It's the hardest thing sometimes to do, though. Thank you.
These are such big questions, and the range of thoughts that come through, even telepathically from the group, is in a way daunting because we're trying to express something that is so great in terms that we can understand in relation to our daily activities, our daily lives, and our relationships with this great illusion that we live in. And there are some words that are expressed. It's in Discipleship in the New Age, Volume 2 from Master DK in relation to meditation 1, which is lifting the solar plexus, and that is where humanity is living, and lift to the heart, which we are all in the process of doing, using the head, the mind, the highest. And the words that struck me when I was doing this with a group actually yesterday, a group that's not, it's a non-English speaking group. DK uses the words that in this movement, subjectively, of that lower, of the aspiration that's in the solar plexus, that higher point, it is mentally appreciated. And I just have paused on that. So I've been practicing in my work, in what I do, just listening to the words and mentally appreciating what is behind those words. And then the other term he uses, it's emotionally projected. And I think that that's something that we oftentimes dismiss, that there is a sentiment, there is an emotion that is being projected to the heart. And I'm trying to notice that in non-spiritual encounters and really appreciate on the mental level what this experience is as a reflection of what that individual embodies, and also hoping that there is something in the exchange that is the reflection of what I am embodying in that encounter, in that exchange. Because these talks that we have together are they're so big, they're cosmic, really. And this challenge to bring it down to noticing what is actually occurring. And there's one of the things in I think it's in Treatise on White Magic. He gives these rules, you know, like know thyself and proceed slowly and with caution. And at the end of the rules, he says, and it's kind of like, don't worry about it because the world will notice. You know, we don't have to notice in ourselves. I think our challenge is to notice in others and to grow and illumine their light rather than trying to project our own light. That's my thought in considering these questions. And I think it's all three of them.
I was pondering the questions. The, the love that is operating principle for the body, and it's in Virgo it becomes possible because our soul and body are becoming in great connection, and the body then can manifest the living principle. The form can give birth to a greater essence within the form. So life can create life more abundant. And how is that relating to us? It's the second ray coming in and becoming not just a pleasant, occurrence of pleasant events, but rather this acute, clear vision of even possibility. What we can manifest. So we won't ask for things that cannot happen yet to happen. but we keep the clear vision of the possibility sometime in the future. So we build the forms that are capable of changing without growth. I was thinking about human body, how unbelievable, what an unbelievable intelligence is within our body. Like we come as a as a tiny baby, and before that, right? But this form, divine form, is developing, knowing at each stage what has to stop, what needs to change, what has to grow, what needs to be sustained. Like our bones, they grow, and then the brain gets the signal of the growth to stop, and the growth stops. Yet certain processes are being developed, still. And it is amazing to me that human beings are capable of creating social forms that have this capacity, that expand enough and can be really evolving. Not just physical forms, but social forms. And human relationship is part of this form, living form. So what is it that we need to do within ourselves to respond to that impulse, to allow that ray energy come, and allowing others, our soul becoming our principle, allowing the energy of the soul to come through the body and manifest. Because when we don't, the soul creates a point of tension within the body, and that's what we call disease. It creates a conflict which points our attention there, but the key is, as Tibetan says, to raise our sight back to the soul. So when things are going right, not to try to, beside trying to fix the problem in the matter, material part of it, realign with the essence that is trying to manifest through this matter. Realign with the soul. And so I think humanity is like in dire need of that at the moment, because we have a lot of crisis, and we need to invoke that soul energy and realign ourselves with that.
When I hear Katya talk about that and that keeping of clear vision of possibility, what comes to me is the importance of optimism. I think there is something about keeping that clear vision, but holding it kind of high as it is sort of redefined. I was reading this morning in Labors of Hercules about Libra, and something jumped out at me that when I was listening to Joe speak, that word kind of came back, and that was, he speaks to the fact that wisdom should be enthusiastic. And of course, like I immediately saw enthusiasm as an enormous amount of energy, almost an unrestrained amount of energy, which I think it is part of. But then I looked enthusiasm up, and one of the definitions was belief in special revelations of the Holy Spirit. And it sort of went, oh, okay. So there is your enthusiasm, which kind of holds hands with that idea of optimism. And so as we sort of redesign what we see in the world, I think it's important to hold that higher energy. You can feel enthusiasm. You do feel enthusiasm. And where you're out in the world, there's a joyfulness that comes with an optimism and an enthusiasm that I think has an energy that follows it and uplifts. And the only other thing that I was left just pondering, and I have no answer, but I loved it when Joe said, how do we illuminate, or she indicated that we should illumine the light of others. And it made me sort of pause, and I will continue to pause and ask myself, how do we illuminate the light of others? We speak to that radiating of our own light in a way that transfers it into others. And I think it's a little bit of a different concept when we think about illuminating the light of others. And maybe there is a correlation. Maybe there is that optimism and that enthusiasm, that of the Holy Spirit that is part of how we illumine the light of others. It's interesting.
In Theos, is that enthusiasm in God? Is it Greek? From the Greek in Theos or something like that? I seem to remember. And how do you elicit that from others? And thinking of Antonella yesterday, where she was saying that smile, I forgot where she said it comes from. Smile, it tells the truth. And smiling, I think of laughter. And either of those could help someone else feel in God, with God. Anyway, thanks.
Also, I'd like to add to that because that really hit home for me. Also, what Joe had said about the illuminating the light in others and the enthusiasm when we're talking about that is was just shared with us. I keep thinking out in the world because there's a lot of enthusiasm, but some of it isn't. It's more astral. I don't know how else to put it. Um, we have to be very careful. That's like with the martyrs and that type of thing that's been going on is um, something that was very interestingly brought up at a talk I was at last Friday was the believe it was the Master Decay that was talking about what happens to the etheric body of the young martyrs. And the angelic kingdom can use that energy to create miracles in the physical if the vibration is high enough. However, if the martyr is more astral, it's doesn't have that higher vibration, but a low vibration. And I think we can compare that to a couple of martyrs that we've seen in the last, I don't know, few years, and what's been going on recently. They say that you can tell because, the David kingdom can use those energies, but if they're more astral, you're going to see more violence in the world. You're going to see a more fires and rioting and killing, as opposed to coming together and healing and forgiving and bringing together love. So enthusiasm, to me, we have to be, it needs to be of a higher order, because you have the lower astral enthusiasm as opposed to the higher vibrational. So I just, I don't know. It was a good point that was brought up, so thank you.
I noticed Ben has put something up in the comments also about the light from Psalm 36, verse 9. With you is a fountain of life. In your light shall we see light. And I think there's something about this reciprocal exchange of light, or seeing it in others, encouraging it in others, and being it yourself. It was a great comment, Joe. Thank you. It really was.
I have been sitting here thinking about love as the middle principle, that which brings relationship about, if you will. That it's the center that adheres together. So while you can radiate love, as you radiate, the other part is that it becomes magnetic and it draws toward itself. And the last time that I spoke, I was looking at embodied love to create more social forms. But to go back, I looked at what is the idea of that love that both radiates and magnetizes. And in some ways, it's the science of invocation and evocation. It's that which brings love toward us and also moves it out at the same time. And when I was reading about the science of the Antakarana and building the Antakarana, it equated it with the science of invocation and evocation. And I had never thought about the Antakarana in that way. And it's the understanding that love really is the bridge builder. It's the bridge builder between all things. And so certainly you need to start within yourself and your own centers. How radiant are they? What's blocking the radiance? Where does that radiation come from? Can you move up to that which is higher, to feel soul? And then with each other, that certainly, as we become radiant, we also become magnetic to others. And I think that's the way that love can be infectious, if you will, or can be that middle principle that draws to itself. Social forms, gee, I sat and watched all the speeches from the UN yesterday, and looking at our social forms and where can we bring in love and how can we bring them, how can we bring it in? Those are big questions. And, are these social groupings based on anything that has love as its center. I think that's the way that you can look at social forms and see, and what does love mean? Not love as astral, but that which creates relationship. And so going back to that centerpiece, that love is that center which holds relationship together. And can we refine that relationship within ourselves to others? And then the bigger question of within a greater unit or a social unit. So really a lot to ponder when I think about that energy and how to both radiate and magnetize. Thank you.
And I'd like to add to that, Judy, because that's a really good point, is love selfless love or selfish love? And I think that's the distinguishing factor also needs to be considered. Thanks.
I've actually been, oops,
Sorry, Lynn, go ahead.
I'll make it really quick, Alexander. I was just going to say, I've sort of been thinking along the same lines as you, Judy. I would just add that as we've experienced in our group, I think these connections also create a field, an energy field, which is a lot of what we've experienced. Okay, thank you.
And continuing what Lynn just said, this energy field that we so often now acknowledge the presence of the telepathy in the group. As Judy, you started sharing, I was looking for the name for Antakarana for humanity. I remember that it's one of the names is the science of social evolution. And so I found this quote and I just put it on the community board. And I will just read it. In the future, this science of the Antakarana and its lower correspondence, the science of social evolution, which is the joint or united Antakarana of humanity as a whole, will be known as the science of invocation and evocation. It's exactly what you were talking, Judy, about. It is in reality the science of magnetic rapport, in which right relationships is brought about by mutual invocation, producing responsive process, which is one of evocation. It is the science which lies behind all conscious awakening of the centers and their interrelation. It lies behind the rapport between man and man, group and group, and eventually between nation and nation. It is this invocation and the consequent evocation which eventually relates soul and personality and soul and monad. It is the outstanding objective of humanity's appeal to God, to the hierarchy, and to the spiritual powers of the cosmos. No matter by what name you call them, the appeal goes forth. The invocation of humanity can and will and must evoke response from the spiritual hierarchy and give the first demonstration upon a large scale of this new esoteric science. Esoteric because it's based upon sound, hence the use of the Om. Into this science I cannot go here. We must confine our attention to our theme, which is the science of the Antakarana. So, thinking about this, how we build the connection, harmonious connection between the form and spirit or essence that lies behind the creation of any form. It's good to recognize that it's in the foundation of that is the science of Antakarana, building this rainbow bridge, the bridge of light. And it's a lot to ponder just in this correspondence, that the lower correspondence of the science of Antakarana, as it's related to humanity in general. Antakarana of humanity is the law of social evolution. And it is recognition of the value of both, of the form and essence that is behind any form, and holding this link vital and not forgetting what is the essence of any form we create or our societies create is spirit. And that is that rainbow bridge of this connection, constant connection between those, is what would help us to create much better world, a world that where forms are actually filled with the meaning and the purpose of a spiritual origin.
I just put a note in the chat that is such a profoundly synthetic excerpt in relation to what we are talking about today. And just to note that it extends from the lowest, that is an encounter that one might have just in passing with another human being, up through groups all the way to that highest point. And we're building that together. And even I was just thinking about how those who formulate like the content or the focus of any one of our meetings in all of the groups that we are participating in, there is an increasing sense of the deep understanding that is being built across all the groups. So when someone, Judy talking about watching all the speeches that I could not watch yesterday, there is a wave of understanding that is being transmitted. The light that she's sharing, each one of us as we share in it, everyone, and we keep building that. For me, it's a spiralic experience. And I just want to note that I met with someone yesterday who's been part of many of our groups. And this individual, at the point of the new moon, experienced a tremendous shift. And it just flipped the switch for this person from the negativity of what's been going on to, oh, yes, we are moving in that direction. And it was a profoundly impactful statement on the part of this particular person who has been part of all of our groups and other groups for so many years. The sense and the word that was used was that we really are connecting in this individual's context as a unified family of those moving along the path together. And it touched me deeply because I have listened to the other side of their expression of, what's happening in the world. So all of the contributions are so significant, but wrapped up in that beautiful excerpt.
I will say that at its highest vision, because I read that whole section in Raise an Initiation on the Antakarana, and certainly the quote that you just said was really close to my heart and it brought a smile. But I also read that our logos builds an antakarana with his other brothers and sisters planetarily. So I thought about the antakarana always being a bridge of love and how it goes from our individual sectors all the way through. That to me, because I never thought about an antakarana between planets. And when I read that statement in the blue books, it was like, wow, the scope of love at that level was just quite incredible. So anyway, just needed to share that. That brought a smile to me for sure.
It reminds me one of the hints given by Tibetan that all ashrams can be found on Antahkarana.
I also have been contemplating the one planetary server as actually being an antakarana because we are that intermediate stage between the two, the linking. So we are that.
I wonder, it seems to me that the line between a new group of world servers and the hierarchy is becoming more and more blurred. We seem to be somewhat blending. And I know it was said that masters would reincarnate finally back on Earth and this and that sort of thing. But I just wonder about that. I wonder, for instance, if the new group of world servers is maybe in the long run temporary. I don't know. I wonder if I don't know. It raises a lot of questions in my mind. Thanks.
As we are preparing for our meditation, I want to use this moment to invite you to consider focalizing one of our next cycles of the meditation for the common good, leading the full moon and the new moon meditation and offering questions for reflection. In this cycle of Virgo, focalizing triangle, Birgit, Tracy, and I focalize in our work. And there's also a beauty in working as a triangle. So maybe if you consider to focalize one of the coming cycles together with two other people as a triangle. So it's just a thought, but I definitely encourage you to consider focalizing our group work in the coming cycles.
Thanks for bringing that up, Alexander. It's funny. Our group telepathy is amazing. I was thinking the same thing, because we had nobody for this cycle that volunteered. So Brigitte, Alexander, and I together will complete this cycle, each one of us taking one of those particular things to focalize. And it actually worked out beautifully. So I'm so glad you brought that up, Alexander, because I was going to talk with you and Brigitte about that. But now that it's out there, I think it's a great idea. It seemed to work real well. Each one of us, Brigitte, Alexander, and I came up with one question each, which gave us the 3 questions. And Brigitte started us out with the full moon meditation, and Alexander did the first quarter moon and last quarter moon, led that alignment for us. And then I'm going to finish with the new moon meditation. So it really did lighten the load, I must say. And it was really nice to collaborate. The 3 of us collaborating together to me was very special. So that might be something that our group might like to look at in the future. It's really nice. You get to know the people you're with a little bit, and it does take a little bit of that load off having to do all of the entire cycle. So thank you again, Alexander, for bringing that up.
So let us shift now to preparing for meditation. So over to you, Tracy, again.
Thank you. Okay. Let us move into silence and become aware of the stillness within. Align with your heart, your ajna, and soul. And from your soul, link with the group heart, the group mind, and the group soul. The heightened vibration and love that we hold within our group now draws the presence of higher vibrational beings who are here to guide and assist the energy and thought forms we will be magnetizing. Let us now connect with the hierarchy through our group Antakarana as we link the heavens and the earth. The inner world of meaning and the subtle world of glamour. Visualize before us the glowing beauty of our chalice, which our work together feeds and fills. This golden chalice is made up of numerous threads of golden light, which have been energized through our group contemplation, impressions, thoughts, and heartfelt unity. We are now completing the second new moon in Virgo, harvesting the seeds of impressions and fruits of our labor. As a group, we separate the chaff from the wheat, and so we offer the best of this to humanity. This long cycle of Virgo has offered and been offered additional energies. The partial solar eclipse energy, which presented itself on Monday, will help magnify the energy of this new moon in Virgo, as well as the equinox on Monday, which offers a cosmic reminder of the equilibrium in nature, the balance between light and dark, past and present, and present and future. The Virgoan mother elicits a deep, quiet nurturing within each of us. The quiet nurturing of the Christ child that will eventually culminate as it synthesizes life and its lessons and experiences to unfold the Savior in Pisces. As the esoteric ruler of Virgo, the moon plays a significant role for the Christ child. In esoteric astrology, the Master DK said, throughout esoteric astrology, there is an emphasis that the moon is a dead planet, a symbol in both the physical world and consciousness of a failed system, the only role of which is now to pursue its child, the earth, bathing it in its noxious emanations. It is disintegrating and one day will disappear. The effect of both these stages of the process upon our planet and upon planetary consciousness will be profound. In astrology, the moon is a symbol of what has been, forms of consciousness which must eventually disintegrate and lose their identity, absorbed by what they have given rise to, as the physical vehicle is discarded by the conscious entity which it has nurtured, and as the emotional nature will eventually become absorbed in the Christ consciousness, which is the second divine aspect, for which it is the agent. This, incidentally, is where the keys of heaven are to be found. The moon is the symbol of evolution, of the relationship between the past and the present. For a short while longer, humanity will be aware of this relationship. But time will come when the awareness of this relationship will be replaced by the awareness of the relationship of the present to the future. End of quote. So let us align with the energies that are present, which support and nourish us in this present cycle. Let us sync with its rhythm and reconnect with our topic. Right relationships, radiating the embodied love. Right relationships, radiating the embodied love. Let us take a few moments in silence to reflect on all that has been shared, together including our responses. We ask the hierarchy to guide and inspire us as we allow our thoughts to crystallize, grasping the essence of the purpose of our work throughout this cycle. And with love, we offer our seeds and efforts into the chalice, each one unmuting and speaking as you are moved to. We also honor those who choose not to speak, but who silently offer their formulated seeds into the chalice. After each vocalized offering, let us allow each seed to rest in silence for a while before the next one is offered. Let us now begin. Let the light from within nurture humanity and the world.
When we see an opportunity to nurture another, we can always be thankful that we are nurturing ourselves.
See the Christ light in everyone you meet and allow it to shine.
Let us light the way with enthusiastic wisdom and radiate this illumination so that the light of others will be ignited and kindled.
The souls of all are one, and we are one with them.
Love heals, love binds. Love is the essence of right relationship.
As we work together with the hierarchy, we create a field of energy that replaces the old and that attracts and lifts all toward it.
Let humanity learn to recognize the seed of light, seed of Christ within every living form, and build the bridge of light between all those points of light.
Let the body of humanity become more responsive to the energies and principles of love, so we can serve and love more.
If anyone else would like to contribute their seed, please do so now. Thank you. We focus on the purpose of our work today and these beautiful seeds collected, allowing them to vibrate with resonance within the embracing light of our group vessel. We magnetize them now with the light of Virgo as we invoke the will to good to potentiate our group intention. We lift our group chalice, offering it to the hierarchy as our group service on behalf of the one divine plan. We now turn toward humanity and offer our service in support of the collective evolution of humankind. As a group, we identify with the soul in all and apply our efforts to be in accordance with the divine will. We send forth the results of our efforts through love and the energy of our group work to help our earth in all its diversity and ultimate unity through its transformational journey into the sacred. And through focused direction of energy from our group onto Ajna Center, we send light out to the higher beings, to other spiritual groups, to the soul of humanity, and to all sentient beings as we assist the great forces of light. And we seal and complete our work together today by sounding the great invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into minds, human minds. May light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into human hearts. May Christ descend on earth. From the center, where the will of God is known, let purpose guide all little human wills. The purpose the masters know and serve. From the center, which we call humanity, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. Om. Om. Om.